You're listening to the Creator Mindset Podcast, episode number 1.
Welcome to the Creator Mindset Podcast, where artists, performers, and entrepreneurs share knowledge that will kick off your career and take you to the next level. Turn your vision into reality with your host, Ariane Hines.
In this episode, I share my story and what you can expect from listening to the Creator Mindset Podcast. I also created a 7-video series just for you, where I share my 7 most valuable steps to keep shining with your voice. You can download it for free at www.arianeleanzahines.com/1. Hi, I am Ariane Hines. Who am I, and why did I start the Creator Mindset Podcast? The origin of my name, Ariane, comes from the Greek mythology. It means most holy, and it is composed of the Cretan Greek elements of Ari, which means most, and Adnos, which means holy. In the Greek mythology, Ariane was the daughter of King Minos. She fell in love with Theseus and helped him to escape the labyrinth and the Minotaur, a very big monster, but was later abandoned by him, and eventually she married the god Dionysus. What does it mean? She helped her lover escape the labyrinth from the big monster. For me, it's like she was smart and kind and courageous. When I was about 20 months, I was diagnosed with hips dysplasia. I remember the hospital. It was all white curtains, all white, and my bed was next to the window so I could see the trees. But I thought, where's my mom, where's my dad, and my brother? I'm not home anymore. After an instant, I realized that I could not move because my body was tied to the bed, and it went on for 6 months. I remember coming to this strange place where I did not know anybody and where people were taking care of me that I didn't know of. I remember my parents coming every day to take care of me, to keep me company, and I developed my voice. I was a toddler and I wanted to explore the world, but I could not move. What does a 20-month-old do when she's tied to a bed? Imagine just for an instant, what would you do in the same situation? Each of us would probably have a different response, but I bet it would not be such a happy one. Sometimes we would use blame, or maybe we would be sad. We would feel anxiety, we will feel fear, boredom, so many emotions when you're tied to a bed. I was a little girl and I did not cry. I did not fight what was happening. I accepted my circumstances. I did something very differently. Every morning in the white hospital, the nurses were always opening the door of my room because I was singing. I was always singing, filling the hospital with colors. One day, they brought a little boy with a foot problem on the bed next to me, and I was cheering him up with singing him songs. He was only 1 year old, so I had to help him because he was so small. I was a little bit older, and I made friends with him. We used to play and sing, even beds apart. He could not move either. I surrendered to the treatments. I surrendered to the emotional pain of being away from my family for such a long time. 6 months is like an eternity to a toddler. But intuitively, I decided to direct my attention on what I loved, which was singing and helping others. I decided to be present and be the best I could be in the now. I did that intuitively. I did not know what I was doing, but I surrendered to the events that were shaping me forever. So what happened next? The treatments, they did not work. After 6 months attached to a bed and 2 months in a cast, things were actually worse than before. My parents were not sure I would be able to walk again, but they were very hopeful. They trained me. We went to Italy on the beach, and they actually made me work my legs every day. And my brother encouraged me too. Then I walked again. I danced, and I also traveled the world. I had a childhood pretty much like a normal child, just I couldn't really do sports or competition. I was not fast, but I was okay. It was sometimes painful, and I had to do a lot of physiotherapy. Of course, I was not a normal child, but it was okay. What I would do is I would record cassette tapes from the radio. If you remember, in the 70s and the 80s, we just didn't have iPods or digital music. We had vinyls, which I loved, and tape cassette. So I would record songs from the radio and play them on the go, in the car and in my huge Walkman. My huge Walkman was what was the closest thing to an iPhone or an iPod or a portable music player. I spent all my free time in art, music classes, and listening to music. Time passed, and I became, after my studies, a teacher at the Music Conservatory in Geneva. I was there for 6 years, and I needed a challenge after that. So I decided to fly to New York City and give it a go. I worked there for 2 years with Céline Dion's vocal coach. I opened my own studio. I worked with amazing artists. I wrote songs. I gave concerts. I built my vocal studio in the city, and I started coaching artists and personalities on their voices to be as true, authentic, and real with their voice in life and on stage as possible. I built a successful business, and I had the honor to work with many amazing artists in the US. The thing is that those artists, they did not know how to book themselves shows or how to move forward with their lives. And that's where I became their booker and sometimes their manager. Yes, we have our loads of obstacles. Everybody has. And those obstacles will make you want to hide. Hide who you are, hide your voice. Make yourself smaller. They will induce you to shrink or go under the blankets. The obstacles come in all kinds of shape. They can be a person, they can be a handicap, as it was for myself. It can be a disease, it can be suffering, it can be a loss, a lack of something, or just an impression we're less than what we want to be. And they are all discouraging us to be and express who we are. But who has the choice? The choice is in our hands, isn't it? Are we making the obstacles bigger, or are we putting our attention on what we wish to accomplish? We all have so many choices to make, some more important than others, but our choices are making us who we are today. What will you decide? Scream, kick, resist, and you will become smaller? If I had screamed and kicked in the hospital, would I have been a singer and a vocal coach? I don't know. I really don't know. Or will you surrender and make the best of your life and its circumstances? I believe in letting go and making the best of things. I believe that we have our path in our hands, that there's no fatality. I believe we can make choices that will lead us to better places or worse places. So I have to realize that these obstacles are not me. They are an obstacle. And breathe in and let it go. I believe in the power of the breath. Replace your obstacles with something positive, with something that has the taste of your favorite food. And then realize that. Many things happen in our lives. There are obstacles, but I always decide to look at the best in people as well as in the best in circumstances. That is always a lesson to be learned. So are you letting the events of life shape you? Are you letting go? Are you cherishing your voice? Being aligned and attuned with one's voice is a path. So where is your path headed? I know each of you is gifted, so find your gift, your voice, and share it. This is my motto for all the artists I work with. With the Creator Mindset podcast, I want to create a community of artists, a place where people can come to find answers and inspiration to move forward on their dreams. It is a mix of solo episodes, interviews, coaching on air, and singing on air. All the episodes are here to inspire you to take actions and live from your art. I truly believe everyone can turn their vision into reality. I created a 7-video series just for you, where I share my 7 most valued steps to keep shining your voice, shining your art into the world. You can download it at www.arianeleonzaheinz.com/1. And if you like this episode, share, subscribe, and give us a review on iTunes. Thank you, and I'll see you in the episode number 2. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Creator Mindset podcast at www.arianeleonzaheinz.com.